Start with the name of Allah, the most merciful, the especially merciful. Today is my topic, the most hurtful thing a wife can do, Qur'an and Sunnah-based guidance. In every marriage, Allah has placed love, mercy, and tranquility as divine gifts. But when these gifts are misused, ignored, or taken for granted, hearts break, homes collapse, and what Allah intended to be a place of peace becomes a battlefield of pain. Today's topic is extremely sensitive because the greatest pain inside a marriage is usually not caused by strangers, but by the person you love the most. And one of the most hurtful things a wife can do, whether knowingly or unknowingly, is something the Qur'an and Sunnah warn about repeatedly. 1. The most hurtful thing, disrespect, the silent killer of a husband's heart. Allah created men with a nature that depends heavily on respect, honor, and dignity. The Prophet said, "A woman who does not thank her husband cannot thank Allah." Musnad Ahmad. This is not about worshiping the husband. It means that disrespect, ingratitude, belittling, humiliating, or speaking harshly to a husband destroys the foundation of love that Allah placed in his heart. Why is disrespect so hurtful to a man? Because a husband's heart is built on a simple truth. If she respects me, she loves me. If she disrespects me, she rejects me. You may not intend to hurt him. You may be speaking out of frustration. You may feel ignored or exhausted. But a man's emotional wiring is different. He breaks from disrespect faster than anything else. 2. The forms of disrespect that hurt a husband deeply: a harsh tone and harsh words. Allah says, "Speak to people good words." 2 hours 83 minutes. If kind speech is commanded for strangers, how much more for the one you share a life with? A harsh tone can break a man more than a physical wound. Women often remember actions, but men remember words. Words that disrespect them stay in their heart like a knife that was never removed. B. Public humiliation. One of the gravest sins in marriage is exposing a husband's faults to others. The Prophet said, "The worst among people is the one who reveals the secrets of the spouse." When a wife embarrasses him in front of people, family, friends, relatives, his heart shuts down. He becomes silent, distant, emotionally unavailable. A man may forgive many mistakes, but he rarely forgets humiliation. C. Constant criticism, nagging, complaints, repeating his failures, comparing him to others. Other husbands do more. Why can't you be like them? You never do anything right. Allah warns, "Do not forget virtue between yourselves." 2:237. Criticism kills his desire to improve. The Prophet said, Allah does not like the one who is never satisfied. A wife who constantly criticizes becomes a source of emotional exhaustion, and the husband starts avoiding conversation altogether. D. Comparing him to other men. This is one of the most painful wounds. Comparing a husband with another man is like stabbing his heart. My sister's husband provides more. They travel, we don't. He is so caring, you aren't. This crushes his confidence and self-worth. The Prophet warned, "Do not harm one another." Comparison is emotional harm at its peak. E. Rejecting his efforts. A husband lives for small appreciation. Even if he earns little, even if he tries imperfectly, even if he doesn't express it well, he tries. When a wife dismisses his struggles, belittles his provision, or mocks his attempts, his heart becomes cold. Allah commands wives, "Be devoutly obedient and guard in his absence." 4:34. This means honoring, valuing, and respecting what he does. 3. Why disrespect is a sin, and why it invites punishment. Disrespect doesn't just hurt the husband, it goes against Allah's laws of marriage. The Prophet said, "If I were to order anyone to prostrate to anyone, I would have ordered the wife to prostrate to her husband." Meaning, his rights are enormous. Disrespecting a husband is not just emotional abuse. It is a spiritual violation. A wife who intentionally humiliates, curses, mocks, rejects, or disrespects her husband is committing behaviors that lead to loss of mercy, loss of barakah, increase of arguments, distance in the heart. Angels cursing at night, ahadith. Wife refusing rights without reason. Broken communication. Shaitan entering the home. Homes collapse because wives underestimate the spiritual weight of disrespect. 4. The psychological effect on the husband. A man who constantly faces disrespect from his wife stops sharing his feelings, stops talking, stops returning home early, becomes emotionally distant, becomes quiet and withdrawn, loses interest in intimacy, avoids communication, develops resentment, feels unwanted and unvalued. The wife often says, "He doesn't love me anymore." But the real issue is, his heart is wounded repeatedly, and every wound creates more silence. 5. What wives should do instead. Qur'anic repair of hearts. Allah commands, and live with them in kindness. 4:19. So, how does a wife rebuild a husband's heart? A. Speak gently. Kindness in tone melts a man's heart instantly. Even disagreement can be spoken with softness. B. Appreciate his efforts. A small thank you is more powerful for a man than 1,000 lectures. C. Stop public complaints. Private advice equals love. Public humiliation equals destruction. D. Encourage, don't criticize. Support his dreams. Stand behind his struggles. Motivate him like the wife of the Prophet did. E. Protect his honor. Defend him. Cover his faults. Value his presence. This brings barakah into the home. F. Pray for him. The Prophet said, the dua of a wife for her husband is accepted. Pray for his success, growth, and guidance. 6. When the wife repairs her heart, the entire home is repaired. Respect from a wife brings mercy, calmness, connection, affection, communication, protection from shaitan, a loving atmosphere, strong emotional bond, sakina, tranquility. A respected husband becomes more gentle, more loving, more giving, more expressive, more emotionally available, more protective, more attached to his wife. Because men love where they are respected, women love where they are cherished. Allah designed marriage this way. 7. Final reminder. The most hurtful thing a wife can do is not refusing chores, not disagreeing, not making mistakes. The most hurtful thing is disrespect in words, tone, attitude, or actions. If you want your marriage to heal, begin with respect, gentleness, and gratitude. Allah will put love back in the heart that became cold. Allah will bring mercy into the home that lost its soul. Allah will protect the marriage from shaitan's traps. May Allah fill all marriages with rahmah, understanding, and respect. Ameen.